Jaguara Prime is not a planet. It is an appetite. Every leaf, every vine, and every creature on this world is designed to consume. The air is so thick with humidity and pheromones that it feels like breathing soup. But the undisputed kings of this emerald hell are the Scent-Wraiths. They are six-legged nightmares of pure muscle and malice. They don't see like we do. They perceive the world through the chemical signatures of emotion. They can smell a spike in adrenaline from 5 miles away. They can hear a human heart skip a beat from across a valley. To them, we are nothing but glowing beacons of fear, bright signals of soft meat waiting to be harvested. The first colonial squads were slaughtered. They went in with heavy armor and loud guns, thinking they were the top of the food chain. The Wraiths didn't even give them a chance to fire. They tracked the soldiers by the very scent of their terror, picking them off one by one from the shadows of the canopy. The jungle was littered with the empty helmets of men who never even saw their killers. But the Federation doesn't accept defeat. They created the Apex Protocol. They sent us, the cold bloods. We don't fight like soldiers. We fight like ghosts. Before we drop into the canopy, we undergo the chill process. We are injected with beta blockers and chemical suppressants that shut down our adrenal glands. Our heart rates are lowered to 20 beats per minute. Our core body temperature is dropped to the edge of hypothermia. We don't feel fear. We don't feel excitement. We are biological voids. To a Scent-Wraith, we don't exist. We are just cold, unmoving stones in a world of heat. I am Sergeant Kalen. I have been in this jungle for 14 days. I haven't spoken a word. I haven't broken a sweat. And today the hunters become the trophies. The mission was simple: find the alpha den and wipe out the breeding cycle. We were deep in the heart rot, a sector where the trees grow 500 feet tall and the ground is a swamp of decaying matter. My squad, Vane, Sarah, and Jax, moved in total silence. We were caked in silver mud, a special compound that masked our remaining thermal signature and neutralized our natural scent. We looked like statues of clay, gliding through the violet ferns. I felt a slight vibration in my haptic collar. It was Vane, signaling from 20 meters to my left. He had found a fresh kill. I glided through a cluster of giant neon cyan ferns. On the ground lay a jaguar bull, a 3-ton beast of bone and horn. It had been gutted with surgical precision. The blood was still steaming. The Wraiths were close. They were feeding. I raised my hand, signaling the squad to form a kill box. We didn't use rifles. Rifles are loud. Rifles create heat. We used the Talon system, monomolecular blades and pressurized pneumatic harpoons. Suddenly the jungle went silent. The constant buzzing of the sporeflies stopped. The wind died. The only sound was the heavy, wet drip of nectar hitting the broad leaves. They were here. I felt the air shift behind me. A Scent-Wraith was ghosting through the foliage, its obsidian skin reflecting the purple bioluminescence of the vines. It was a massive beast, 10 feet of coiled power. Its 3 rows of red eyes were scanning the area, but it was confused. It could see the dead bull, it could smell the blood, but it couldn't find the things that had killed it. We were right in front of it and we were invisible. The Wraith let out a low, guttural hiss, its nostrils flaring as it tasted the air for a hint of adrenaline. It was looking for the scent of a panicked heart. It found nothing. Sarah moved first. She dropped from a high branch like a falling shadow. She didn't scream. She didn't grunt. She buried her heated machete into the base of the Wraith's neck. The orange blade sliced through the obsidian hide like hot wire through wax. The Wraith roared, a sound that shook the very ground. It spun, its 6 legs digging into the mud, its tail snapping like a whip. But the trap was already shut. Jax and Vane emerged from the ferns, firing their pneumatic harpoons. The heavy steel bolts, tethered to high-tension carbon wires, slammed into the beast's flanks. The Wraith was pinned, anchored to 2 massive ironwood trees. It thrashed, its claws tearing the earth, its eyes glowing with a violent rage. I stepped out from behind a giant fern. I walked toward the beast. My heart rate remained at a steady, rhythmic crawl. My breath was a faint mist in the humid air. I looked the king of the jungle in its eyes and I felt absolutely nothing. The Wraith lunged at me, its jaws snapping inches from my face, but the wires held. It was terrified. For the first time in its evolutionary history, it was the one feeling the cold hand of death. It could smell its own blood, but it couldn't smell me. To the Wraith, I was a force of nature. I was the inevitable end. I raised my machete. The orange light of the blade reflected in the beast's red eyes. With a single, fluid motion, I decapitated the alpha. The body slumped into the silver mud, the black blood mixing with the nectar of the ferns. But we weren't done. The roar had called the pack. From the canopy above, dozens of shadows began to descend. The Scent-Wraiths were coming in waves, a black tide of claws and teeth. They were angry, but they were still hunting blind. "Go to black," I signaled. We activated our cloaking shrouds. These weren't standard optical camos. They were pheromone disruptors. They emitted a cloud of synthetic scent that mimicked the rotting vegetation of the heart rot. To the pack, the entire area suddenly smelled like a decaying swamp. The wraiths landed in the clearing, confused. They sniffed the air, their heads darting left and right. They stepped over the body of their alpha, unable to understand what had happened. The slaughter began. We moved through the pack like reapers through wheat. I slid under the belly of a leaping wraith, my blade disemboweling it before it hit the ground. Vane was a whirlwind of steel, his daggers finding the soft spots behind the creature's armored joints. Sarah was picking them off from the trees, her harpoons pinning the beasts to the ground for the rest of us to finish. There was no glory in it. There was no adrenaline rush. It was a systematic, clinical extermination. We were the apex predators because we had removed the one thing that makes an animal vulnerable: emotion. We were machines of meat and bone, executing a protocol. The wraiths tried to flee. They realized that the jungle they owned had turned against them. They scrambled up the trees, trying to reach the safety of the high canopy. We didn't let them. We followed them into the heights, our magnetic claws allowing us to scale the bark faster than they could climb. I caught the last one near the top of a 500-foot giant. It was a younger wraith, smaller and faster. It turned to face me on a narrow branch, baring its teeth. It let out a desperate, high-pitched cry. I didn't hesitate. I drove my blade through its skull, and the creature fell, tumbling through the layers of the jungle until it hit the dark floor below. I stood at the top of the tree, looking out over the endless purple horizon of Jaguara Prime. The sun was setting, casting long orange shadows over the canopy. Below me, the jungle was quiet again. The pack was dead. The alpha den was gone. I felt the haptic vibration in my collar. Mission complete. Extraction in 5 mics. I looked at my hand. It was steady. I took a deep breath of the humid, nectar-scented air. I felt the chemical suppressants beginning to wear off, a slow warmth returning to my limbs. My heart rate began to climb back to its normal rhythm. For a moment, I felt the weight of what we had done. I felt the coldness of the hunt. But as I looked at the vast, predatory world below, I knew the truth. Jaguara Prime thought it was the most dangerous place in the galaxy. It thought its monsters were the ultimate killers. It was wrong. The galaxy is full of things with teeth and claws. It is full of things that hunt by scent and sound. But the most dangerous thing in the universe is a human being who has decided to stop being afraid. We don't need to be faster than you. We don't need to be stronger than you. We just need to be colder. The Scent-Wraiths are dead. The jungle is silent. We are the cold bloods and we own the night. The mission is over. We are coming home.